Hi, this is LaKesha from Virgo Vibe, and I'm coming to you with another video. And today I'm going to talk about building self-confidence and escaping low self-esteem. Building self-confidence is not something that happens overnight. It takes a lot of work, especially if you come from a situation where you've had low self-esteem for a really long time because of your environment, or your childhood or whatever it may be. It's very possible to turn that around and have high self-confidence and high self-esteem. So I just want to give you a couple of pointers to look at that will help you to build your self-confidence and get rid of low self-esteem. So the first thing I want you to do is take a look in the mirror and try to figure out what it is about yourself that you do and don't like, and make a list. What do you want to change about yourself? What do you love about yourself and you want it to stay that way? Be very clear about who you are, what you would like to see happen in your future, and what you don't want to see, so that you can pretty much map out where you're trying to go with your self-confidence and self-esteem. The second thing I want you to do is stop believing the lies. Stop believing all the things that people have told you in the past that they think about you. Everyone has an opinion, and that doesn't make it correct. You can be whoever you want to be. You can live however you want to live, and people may not understand it or like it, but people may not like it, but they'll have to get over it, because you're only living your life. You're not living theirs, and they're not living yours. And to try to always make people happy, to try to make others happy all the time is like a race that you just can't win. What you should concentrate on is making yourself happy and living your life to the fullest, and not living your life for others. So when someone tells you that you'll never amount to anything, or you'll never be whatever it is that you want to pursue in life, don't believe the lies. Don't believe anything that that person says, because 9 times out of 10, they didn't go out and do the things that they wanted to do in life, so they feel like you shouldn't be able to do them either. They wouldn't ever tell you that, but honestly, they're just living in fear, and they feel that it's normal that everyone should live in fear with them. But don't be afraid. So the third thing I want you to do is imagine what self-confidence and high self-esteem would look like for you. What would your daily be like if you had really high self-esteem? What would your daily be like if you had very high self-confidence? What types of things would you be able to accomplish and do that low self-esteem and low self-confidence are blocking you from right now? So the next thing I want you to do is practice affirmations. Affirmations are usually a list of things that you can repeat, and they sometimes start with I am. And the more that you practice saying these positive affirmations about yourself, the more that your subconscious mind clings on to these things, and they start to become true. So for instance, if you feel like you're not beautiful, but you want to be beautiful, then you start saying affirmations like, I am beautiful. And a lot of times we think that things are a certain way, but it's really how we look at them. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and that's only an example of one thing that you could be struggling with. Someone could have called you stupid. It could be anything. You might feel like you're not good enough or strong enough. Then you would just start repeating, I am strong. I am good enough. I am capable. I am loving. I am all those things that everyone said I'm not, I am. And once you get into the habit of this, things will start to change just a little bit, and you'll start to understand that what you put into your subconscious mind is what sticks. So if it's difficult right now and you feel like you have a lot of negative things that you think about yourself, it's because those things were planted in your subconscious mind. So it's your job to reprogram yourself and make sure that you are putting in those positive things about yourself. Because remember, we were all born as babies. We didn't know anything. Everything that we learned about life and who we are came after we left that hospital. So, if we were born in a hospital. But anyway, everything we learned came from somewhere. It was implanted in us. And we have the capability to change those things. And it's basically like writing your own story. You can write your story however you want to, and it doesn't have to be a negative story. It could be the greatest story ever told. Number 5 is stop negative talk. Number 5 is stop negative talk. This one can be a little more difficult for people because after you've said these negative things to yourself for so long, it's kind of hard to cut them off. Now, sometimes it's other people saying negative things to us, and then we take them into ourselves and we start to think that these things are true, and then we start to tell ourselves that these things are true, and they're not. So make sure that when you're saying things about yourself, that you are saying things in a positive way. And this takes a lot of practice, like I said, but you have to continuously do it, and after some time it will definitely change for the better, and the things that you say will be loving to yourself and supportive to yourself and not negative to yourself. So for instance, if someone says, "Oh, I can't do that, I'm no good at cooking," well, reality is, if you took some classes, or if someone, sat down and taught you, over time, yeah, you will get better. And so to say that you'll never be good at cooking is kind of like giving up before you start. You can be if you want to be. You just have to work at it. So don't let things like "I will never" and "I can't" be in your vocabulary, because anything's possible. So just remember that. And after a while, you're going to have to start self-auditing. And when I say self-auditing, I mean you'll have to make sure that you pick up on when you start to go off into that negative way, so that you can bring yourself back and correct it. And the more that you do that, the easier it will get to have a conversation, and everything that comes out is positive and not negative, even when we're talking about ourselves. So number 6 is one step at a time. And this is so important because a lot of people think that, there's so much that I have to do to fix myself that, it's not even worth it because it's just too much. Well, if I had to walk 40 miles, what's the fastest way to get there? By sitting on the curb and complaining about the 40 miles that I need to walk to get to my destination? Or by putting one foot in front of the other? Eventually I'm going to get there. Now 40 miles might seem like a really long walk, but I don't have 5 minutes to do it in. So you have time, you go at your own pace, but you just take one step at a time, and eventually you'll get there. And that's for any goal in life. So just don't give up before you've even started. And finally, the last point that I wanted to make about building self-confidence and escaping low self-esteem is to remove yourself from the wrong influences or people. And this is also could be seen as difficult because in some instances, those negative influences that you're around, maybe your family members that you live with, or maybe at your job. And when I say remove yourself, yes, first and foremost, physically removing yourself would be the best option to remove yourself. But there are also other ways to remove yourself if you can't physically remove yourself. Don't pull yourself into their negative and go down to their level. Remain where you're at. And it might sound like, how do I remain where I'm at when someone's treating me badly and I can't escape from it? I found that it's difficult to ignore people sometimes, but sometimes that does work. Sometimes so for instance, like say you're at work and you're talking with someone and they want to gossip about other people, but you don't really want to get into it. I found sometimes that, just not saying anything would be the good thing to do, but sometimes that doesn't help. Sometimes that makes people think it's still okay and that you're okay with that. Sometimes you have to speak up and say, you know what, I don't want to really talk about this, or I have to go because this is, this seems kind of negative, or this seems like, or you're taking up for that person that they're talking about. Well, I don't really think that she's that way, or I've never had that experience. That kind of curves people, where they're looking for someone to laugh with and, flare up the gossip and make it continue. And so when you find ways to kind of dull it down or move away from it, that's what I mean by removing yourself. Don't join in. Don't be part of it. If someone's arguing with you and you want to remove yourself, don't argue back and forth with them. Find other ways to remove yourself. So let's say, for instance, I'm at home and me and my brother are constantly arguing, and how do I remove myself when we live together? Maybe you just go in your room and shut the door. Maybe you have a real serious talk about, whatever the issue is, to hash it out. Maybe you move out, so just find ways to remove yourself. And even sometimes when you're having a conversation with someone and things always seem to go down the same path, I find it helpful to change my reaction, because in turn their reaction starts to change. So say I'm arguing with my brother all the time and he's used to be yelling back, and then all of a sudden I decide I'm not going to yell back and forth with him and I sit silently and he's yelling by himself. He's going to notice. He's going to be like, you don't have anything to say, So in those instances, sometimes it's good to, take a left and don't go down that same way that you normally go. Just try to, calm the situation or move away from the situation as far as you can and try to not revisit that. I know sometimes it's hard. Like, say for instance, you work at a place and everyone around you is just very toxic, but you can't do anything. Like, say it's your boss, you can't do anything. You gotta still be there because you got bills to pay or whatever your reason is. Well, those positive affirmations help a lot. Like I said, if you can't just quit your job because you don't have another job waiting in the wings, there might be other ways. There might be someone you can talk to at work to help rectify the situation, or you might just have to wait it out until that person is no longer there. I mean, it really is about communication and how you communicate with others. And even in a bully situation, most bullies look for people who are not going to stand up for themselves. And once a person kind of stands up for themselves, they've made their job so much harder that they need to move on to someone who's not going to fight. I wanted to give you a couple of those building self-confidence points that will help you to move towards higher self-confidence and higher self-esteem, because a lot of times we're in situations or relationships that break us down, and we weren't always that way, and then we got to this place that we don't like, and we need to know how to get back to that happier place where we felt good about ourselves. And we have to remember all those positive things about ourselves that we loved in the past and that we nurtured, so that they can grow again. Like, you know, a flower. A flower needs water, it needs love, it needs sun. So you need to put sun and water, fertilizer on your self-confidence so it can grow. So I hope this video helped you, and if it did, please subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. And I am sending all my love and support. This is LaKesha, Virgo Vibe, out.